Okay, welcome everybody. I'm very happy because the focus is not going to be on me at all this afternoon. Instead, we're going to be talking to 4 of this year's honour list school librarians. So we're going to be talking to Claire Maris, Terry McGarger, Aideen Quinn and Christabel Williams. And we're going to have 15 minutes with each of these wonderful school librarians. So I'm going to start with Claire Maris. Claire, are you able to put your camera back on? Have a chat?
Hello.
Fantastic. Hello. Nice to see you again. Right, I'm going to leap straight in because 15 minutes I think is going to absolutely rush by. So first of all, I have to ask you about your podcast, because I think that's such an original thing to be doing. So you do a weekly podcast. So how did this get started and how does it work? What impact does it have within your school?
Well, I mean, at the moment we do it every 2 weeks because obviously we've been locked down, but it usually every week. And we decided to do it. I mean, we're on, I think, 83 episodes now. And we just decided it was something that we could help network with other libraries and get out there just about what we do in the library and talk about it. And we do book reviews, we talk to authors that come in, we talk to teachers, we talk to students that are at the school, we do all sorts, and it's just amazing really. And we're getting better at it. The first couple were a little bit shady, but we've had, we're up to 83 episodes now, and it really is brilliant. And it's just about sort of championing everything that we do. So if we've got a special event coming up, say there's a Scholastic Book Fair, then we actually talk about why we do the Scholastic Book Fair, what, the impact it has on the school, and we can then sort of get Scholastic involved, so we'll add them in, and we sort of, it's just a bit of advertising for other people as well, and we sort of advertise what we do, and then we put it on our Tutil website, and we obviously tweet about it, and it's just about getting it out there really, and just talking about what we do at the library and spreading the love.
Fantastic. So who do you do that with? Because I noticed you said we all the way through that, so I'm assuming it's not just you.
I find this really hard because I have an assistant called Sophie, and she is amazing. She is incredibly techy. She does all the editing of it, which is why it sounds brilliant. She is on today. I think she's come in to see what I'm talking about.
Oh, that's lovely.
And we do it together, and she kind of leads it a little bit. She's had a bit more experience of doing a podcast. So she leads into it, and then we both just talk and have conversation. And I think we sound pretty okay now. I
don't know if you just saw, she just put up in the chat that she's amazing because of your ideas. It's a dream team.
Yeah, she gets a bit scary because I'll come in and I'll go, I couldn't get to sleep last night, Sophie, because I've got this thought. And you can see her face going, oh my goodness, what we're going to do now. It's a bit like that.
Excellent. No, that's good. That's how you need to work.
But we will be continuing the podcast, and I'm going to send a link out after I finish talking, and I'll send it through on the message, the link to the podcast and our wakelet as well. But it's called Lounging with Books, and they're between 10 and 20 minutes long, so not too long.
Yeah, because you call your library the Reading Lounge, don't you?
It's called the Learning Lounge.
Learning Lounge, sorry.
That's not me calling it. That was the old manager. She decided not to call it the Learning Resource Centre, and we are the Learning Lounge. So.
Okay, it does sound very relaxing. So the other thing that I got from your profile, you run a huge number of clubs in your library. So yeah, tell us about a few of them, but also have you managed to keep any of them going post-COVID?
Well, pre-COVID, we have extended study clubs, so they're clubs that run from 3 till 4:15 every night, other than Friday. And because I find running clubs during the day is quite difficult.
Yeah.
Because you need to focus your attention on the students and what they're doing. I do have a chess club that runs at lunchtime, but that kind of runs itself. So they just come in and pick up the chessboards and go off, and I'll do a tournament once a year and get them involved in that. But on Monday, we run a board games club. So it's not all about reading our clubs. The board games, it's very busy. So students, some of them bring in their own board games, and others play games by themselves. And then I champion a game myself so that it runs properly and we follow the rules and we get through a game. So it'd be Monopoly or Pictionary or charades or something like that. It's great fun. It's really good, and you get different people coming into the library, so that you might not ordinarily see. So it's quite nice to just see different people. We run a manga club. Sophie tends to run the manga club because she's the manga queen. Then we have a debate club, and we've taken our debate team to the Mace debating competition. So we've done that a couple of times. So we do that. And my baby is my reading classics club, and they are just amazing. I have such a lovely group. It's a really small group, and I run a reading classics because I'm not a huge fan of classic books. I know that's really awful to say, but I'm not a huge fan. So I thought, oh, I'll run a club where I can read a few classic books. So we've done things like Alice in Wonderland, Animal Farm, The Hobbit, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, and Green Gables, and we did Railway Children, and they really loved Railway Children. And after we finished it, one of the students said, could we reenact the Railway Children? And I said, well, sounds like a good plan. And I thought, well, I can't really reenact the whole book. So we picked a chapter, and we picked the Pride of Perks, which is the bit where it's his birthday. And they go into the village and they pick up all different prizes, presents. And so we organised the learning lounge, and I gave them all a script, and they didn't have to learn the script, but they all had characters, and they actually got dressed up as well, which was amazing. So we got dressed up, and I videoed it, and then Sophie edited the video and added music and like the list of names at the end, and then I did a movie premiere. Wow. And we had popcorn and everything, and I showed that at the awards evening, because we do an awards evening for parents, and I showed that there. But yeah, the reading classics group is just brilliant.
What year group do you do that with?
It's a mixture. It tends to be more sort of year 7 to 9 year group that I get coming into that. I've still, this lockdown, I've started reading Black Beauty, and I've been videoing it and putting it on Wakelet for them as a private link and sending it to them. So that's how I'm doing it, because I was hoping I would be able to restart it, but with not running extended study clubs, it's been very difficult. It's been really frustrating, to be honest with you. So, but we're reading Black Beauty at the moment. And the other thing I do is produce these bookmarks.
Oh wow!
And they're done in like acrostic style. And then while we're reading, we might be looking for things. So we might be looking for best adverbs, or we look for our favourite parts, or different kinds of words that we're not used to, and things like that. So we'll that's how we produce a discussion as we're going through the book. So that's my clubs, kind of.
That's amazing. I think I'm tired now after listening to that. So. I know, and I think we're all just thinking we just want to get back to doing so much of this stuff as well, don't we? Oh, right, we've only got a few minutes left. But so the other thing, you've implemented a school-wide reading week, which I think is everybody's dream. So how difficult was it to get this started, and what kind of things go on in that? I know that you said everybody does 10 minutes reading at the start of the day, is that right?
I know a lot of schools do drop everything and read, and tutor time reading, things like that. And so, it doesn't sound like it's pretty amazing, but I'm in a school where historically they didn't really champion reading that much. So when I took over as the library manager, I had 2 initiatives I wanted to bring in, which was the gifting of the Year 7 book and a reading week. And fortunately, I had a line leader who was really positive and really supportive, and she kind of pushed it through. And in the first year, when I started it in 2019, I was only doing it for Year 7 because I've had to bring it in quite slowly. So I'm now in my 3rd year. So this year it will be Year 7, 8 and 9. So it becomes the norm, if you get what I mean. It becomes normal. So I basically introduced it. In the first year, I got quite a lot of resistance from staff because, you know, it was, you know, it's something different and we've got other things we've got to do and it's taking over 10 minutes of our time at the beginning of the lesson, and they were telling the students what they could read, and the whole idea was that you take a book, your own book that you want to read, and you read for the first 10 minutes of the lesson, every single lesson. They were even doing it in PE. And then at lunchtime, we were holding activities. So we'd have a poetry slam. We'd do a quiz. Last year, we had Simon James Green come in, and he was amazing. And we have silent reading sessions, which I know sounds funny, but in the library, it's not silent all the time. I'm not sure about everybody else's, but it's quite difficult to have complete silence in a school library.
Definitely.
And that's my reading week. So I'm currently in my 3rd year of this 4-year plan, and it's going very well. And I actually get a lot of positive feedback now from teachers who say it's such a brilliant way of starting a lesson because the children are so relaxed. And, you know, and I get reports from kids who have read a whole book in that week, which they wouldn't ordinarily do. And my book borrowing statistics go up, and it's just brilliant. And I'd like to do it every week of the year, but they don't let me do it every week.
I know, it is a shame, isn't it? I love that idea of bringing it in a year group at a time. I think that's absolute genius, and I will probably steal that if that's okay. That's excellent. And I'm glad we've got 2 minutes left, because I just wanted to ask you this one last thing. You're with Book Trust, you do a Book Trust challenge, but it tells me nothing else on the website about what that is. So what is your Book Trust challenge?
I'll try and limit this down to 2 minutes. Yes, back when in 2013, I joined as a library assistant, and there was no reading challenges. We don't do accelerated reading. So I wanted to bring in some reading challenges, and there was these school packs that turned up, and I was like, oh, what are these school packs? And they've got obviously the books of 6 books, 5 of them. And I thought, I can do something with those. So I said to my manager, I said, would it be okay if we turn this into a reading challenge? And so what we do is read the books and produce a bookmark that has 10 questions. And basically, while you're reading the book, you just answer the questions. It's in chronological order. There's no tricks or anything like that. But what's the beauty of it is it encourages the kids to read a book from start to finish. It helps the understanding of the book. It raises the profile of these amazing books that Book Trust give us. And it raises the profile of the author as well. And we make a really big fuss of the books, and we do displays in the Learning Lounge. And when the kids take the book out and do the challenge, they get credits and they get a prize if they're the first 6 to complete it. And then, so I've got a whole bank now of these Book Trust challenges from 2013, and they are hugely popular. And yeah, so that's why. And I was lucky enough to go and sit on the panel and pick the school pack back in, I think it was 2017.
Excellent. So, I did it last year. It's a really good experience, isn't it? Yeah.
Oh, you were probably with Sophie. Sophie did it last year, which is my sister.
It's really terrible. I don't remember names because we didn't get to meet each other. It was all like this. It's not the same at all. So that's my Book Trust challenge, and it's just my way of utilising that school pack slightly differently. That's fantastic. Thank you very much. And look at that. dead on quarter to.
Yeah,
Oh, we could have got that better if we'd rehearsed it. So thank you very much, Claire. I will let you switch your camera off and you can just listen to the others now. So Terry, I'm going to Terry, I'm going to welcome you now. Hello, and your cat is still sleeping in the background.
Yeah, Mickey's here.
It's very, very sweet. I mean, you seem to have an odd cat like mine that's actually sleeping in the bed that you've provided for it, and I never quite understand cats that do that.
I know. Well, if it's any consolation, he has a very expensive bed downstairs that he's never set foot in. So
that's reassuring. Thank you very much. Right, Terry. So the thing that obviously comes across as being really important to you from your profile is about building relationships with staff. So could you tell us a little bit more about how you go about that? And there was mention to some library guides that you've created. If you could tell us more, that'd be great.
Yeah, I've got some show and tell, so I'll share my screen.
Excellent.
Here we go. And hopefully, okay. So hopefully you can see that now. So this was like most good ideas that school librarians have. I pinched a whole bunch of other people's good ideas and stuck them together for my own. So I had seen various people doing something where they gave teachers a book from the library, you know, to read over the holidays. And I was trying to get more staff to come into the library and actually look at their section of the library and what we had. There were a lot of staff that didn't seem to be aware of what we had for their students in terms of research and for different age groups and things. So I was talking to my line manager about this, and he said, I can't give you any time really. I could give you a coffee break on an inset day, and they could have their coffee in the library if you were okay with that. And I thought, well, they're really not going to, if I come whip out a PowerPoint in their coffee break, I am not going to make friends. So I thought I'll just have to be clever about this and sneak them some information while they're having their break. So I thought we'll wrap up a book for each teacher from their section of the library. And inside that book, we'll put a LibGuide that says what we can offer and has some details about how to contact us and things like this. So this is the inside of that LibGuide. It was sort of 4 pages, just folded in half A4, kind of went through what the library has to offer. And then this was the back page, which was the really important bit that sort of said, where are your books in our library? These are the
and for geography, that is really important, isn't it? Because they are everywhere. Yeah.
Just a kind of reminder, because again, I'm sure a lot of people have this experience of you invest in these online resources and then the teachers don't promote them. And they're fantastic, but if the teachers aren't promoting them, the kids aren't going to use them, no matter how much you promote them. So that was to try and get the online subscriptions on there as well. So that was the LibGuides, and then I have a fabulous team who wrapped the books for me. So I chose books and then put a big pile together saying this goes to Mr. So-and-so, this goes to Miss So-and-so, and they issued them in our system and wrapped them and left them there on the table. So when they came in, they could find their name, and they were really excited about it. So this was one of the physics teachers, and I'd given him, this was about the Large Hadron Collider at CERN, and it was a pop-up book, and he was quite thrilled with that. And this was, on the left is a geography teacher and most of the English department getting quite excited about their books, and then on the right, a biology teacher very excited about trees. So that was how I did that. So let me see if I stop presenting and come back to you.
That's absolutely fantastic. Now, leading on from that, I love this in your profile. It said that you are not afraid to challenge systems or colleagues. Can you have to give us an example of what you've done here?
I thought, when my line manager wrote that as part of my
wonderful.
Okay, yeah. I guess I'm coming off a bit strong, maybe. I think This is about how that tension that we have as librarians of always wanting to be helpful. And we do, and that's important. We should want to be helpful. We're in a service. We offer a service, but that doesn't, I don't think, always mean saying yes to everything. And sometimes you get asked to do things because they can't think of anyone better, and it's not really your job, or you kind of think, well, what are they really getting at here? And so I'll give you an example. So I was trying to think of what might have precipitated him to write that. There are a couple of ones I can think of. One was something, I had a PSHE teacher approach me, and she said she'd like to bring, she had this big research lesson coming up. She wanted to bring her classes in, every lesson in the library for 4 weeks. And that was difficult for lots of reasons, not least that we're a really big, busy school, and it's supposed to be run as a silent library, and there are periods where there's lots of sixth form in the library on freeze, so that would have been quite disruptive. But I didn't want to just say no, so I asked her more about what the project was, and found out, you know, I could actually help, and ended up offering to kind of co-teach the research bits with her. And PSHE is one of those subjects that not all the teachers who were teaching it at that time wanted to teach it. Some of them had been asked to teach it. So they were all too happy to have help with that. So we did some of the sessions in the library where we could, but otherwise I would go to the classroom. And so what I ended up doing was much more valuable than what she'd actually asked for in the first place, which was just a venue. But I didn't actually say yes to her original request. And I had a real culture change at the school where I am. I've been there for, I think this is my 11th year. And so I think in the initial stages, I had really good advice from one of the teachers who said, you know, you're going to have, the library has not been run in the way that I think you'll want to run it. And I think the staff have kind of think of it as kind of a cozy place to hang out and not much else. And I think you're going to have a job on your hands. But you're really powerful now. They obviously like you. They've hired you. Ask for everything now. You've got more power now than you ever will again. And that was really good advice. So I started asking, and then you know, I think that's where it is. And also I'm American, so partly I can play that card and kind of come across as more demanding if I like.
I love that, that's great. Well, I think if that was what precipitated the comment, it was definitely a compliment, so I don't think you need to worry. So I think we might go back to your slideshow now, because I wanted to ask you about your involvement in the Trinity Schools Book Award.
Oh yeah, so this is something I just love, and I know Tamsin's on the call, and I work with her a lot in, let me see if I can get my screen up. So let's see if I share this. And oh, you know, I think I might have closed. I might have closed my. Let me see if I can find it quickly.
Don't worry.
There we go. There it is. So if I go back to present, and I'll just get to that slide. So yeah, the Tamsin Farthing, who's at Royal Guildford School, Royal Grammar School, Guildford. Both our schools are in a loose association of schools called the Trinity Group of Schools, and she suggested years ago starting a new school book award for our schools, and we've since extended it to anybody who wants to take part. And it would be to complement the Carnegie Medal. And so there's 6, 7, 8 books that we choose as a short list every year as the librarians. There's a committee, and I'm on that committee, and we pick a theme every year. So one of its big differences is that there's a theme. So they can be slightly older books, not just published in the last year. This year's theme is Only Human. It's a real really diverse list. So some of the theme, as you can see with Nowhere on Earth, is kind of a sci-fi kind of take on what it means to be human. But we've also got things like Valley Rise, Now or Never, on what it means to be human in war, and the experience of those Indian muleteers fighting alongside the British in the war. So it lets us kind of break away from all the other book lists that are out in a given year and tackle things on a theme. And it's aimed at years 7 and 8. And one of the other key differences is that instead of shadowing something, the kids actually vote for the winner themselves. So it gives them a little bit of agency. So this is the list this year for the theme. And one of the other things I love about it is that kids can respond creatively. So we have a competition for book reviews, but we also have a creative response competition. They can literally do anything in response to a book on the shortlist. And these are some past examples from my own school. So on the left is a boy in year 7. He had composed a piece of music in response to Judith Kerr's One Hit the Little Pink Rabbit for piano and violin.
Of course.
And I mean, I can play you a little bit. I don't know if this will work. Let me try it. It's absolutely beautiful. I won't play too much, but you know, it was stunning. And we ended up hosting the awards ceremony that year, and Judith Kerr was there. So he got to play. This was him playing it at the awards ceremony in front of her. So that was really a special moment. And the example on the right is last year. Our theme was Stand Up, Speak Out, and we had a good girl's guide to a good student's guide to murder. These kids are collaborated as a form to do a film, and in which their poor form tutor was discovered dead. So there's their game tutor playing along. And then this was another one where a student had written a poem, and really creative. She's an art student. So she made the glasses with red and blue lenses. They're just paper. And she wrote a poem with verses overprinted in red ink and blue ink. And it only worked if you donned the glasses in turn, and you then could read one set of verses and then the other to read together. It really was. So that's what Trinity is all about. So we're just winding up with that now for the year.
That's fantastic, and I think there's lots of ideas there for people to steal, like me. Right, we have got 2 minutes, so I think I can get one more question in. And I'm going to ask you about the fact that you employ a graduate trainee every year, because I think you might be the only ones who do that. I don't know of anyone else who does. Someone will probably come in the chat to tell me that they do. So it's sort of, what makes you do that, and what benefit do you think the school gets from having that kind of person in there?
Again, I might have to share later with you some of the pictures that I don't have up, because I think every time I stop sharing my screen, it kind of kills my link. But I love that we have a graduate trainee now. I'm on my 3rd one, so we've had it for 3 years, and I did it because we're quite lucky. We have a big team of 4. There's 4 of us. So we've got 2 librarians, 1 assistant library assistant, and the graduate trainee is also a library assistant. And for them, it gives them their year's experience working in a library before they go off to library school. For us, it means we've got somebody else who knows how to do circulation, who can do the processing of the books, who can do some of the admin tasks and frees us up for some of the higher level kind of strategy stuff, or so we can leave the library to go and do something with a class in a classroom. One of the show and tell I had for that was some of the displays that they've been involved in. My graduate trainee this year is an arts graduate, and she's been fantastic. Because we haven't been in physically the library, we've got big windows, and we've been putting our displays facing outwards so that kids walking through the piazza can see them. So we've photocopied covers of books, and she's done displays where she's used like a chalk marker to draw bookshelves. and then put these books on them for National Nonfiction November. And one that you saw earlier was a previous graduate trainee came to me with a great idea that she'd seen online for International Women's Day, where they turned all the books by male authors around, so that the only spines you could see were the ones by women authors in fiction. And she said, I think this would look fantastic. Can we do it? And she said, I think you're going to say no. I love the idea. I said, but it's an awful lot of work for one day, and we'll have to turn it all back. So if you want to do it, do it. And it was fantastic, a really great visual.
Yeah, yes, we did. We spotted that picture earlier and we didn't know what it was of. So that's fascinating. And I wonder, there's probably a difference between fiction for children and for adults, actually, I would think. So I feel that there's more female authors for children.
Yeah, well, it's interesting because we have mostly, obviously, in our fiction department, or our fiction shelves, more teen fiction than anything. But it was still very, very gappy. You think about Robert Muchmore and the M's, you know?
Yes,
writers. That was turned around, you know?
Yeah, no, male authors do seem to write a lot more series, don't they? That might not be quite right. But it's great. So I suppose you've got a person who can spend their day doing that because they're kind of an extra, really, aren't they?
Well, it's great because they can, you know, they can be on the desk doing circulation stuff, and then when it's quiet, whenever it's quiet, they can kind of be brainstorming ideas for the next display.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
I did get somebody, I think it was Helen Emery, came on and said that they used to do it as well. So, but used to, so you might be the only ones doing it at the moment. Thank you very much, Terry. That was absolutely fantastic. We're slightly running over, but it's not too bad. Thank you very much. I will let you get off, and I'm going to welcome Aideen. I'm hoping Aideen's still there. Yes, she is. Gone again. There you are. Hello. Hi, and you're showing off your lovely library behind us, which is fantastic.
I'm delighted with the excuse to be here today.
So do you know when you'll be going back?
Our 6th years are back already, so I think that's equivalent to your A-level students.
Yeah.
And then gradually the other years are coming back, and we'll all be back after Easter.
Oh,
hopefully.
So not too much longer.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Right, so Aideen, it says in your profile that you work closely with teachers to deliver literacy and numeracy classes in the library. So could you tell us a little bit more about that, about how you work with them and how those classes work?
Yeah, we are first, second and third years, so I think that's the equivalent of maybe year 8, year 9 and year 10. They all have a library class once a week in the library, which is focused on reading. But within that group, there will be one class that needs some extra support, who'd be reading considerably below their chronological age and would struggle with confidence. You know, they arrive in our school coming from other feeder schools around where they would have, you know, really struggled within the group, and then they all come together within one small class where we can give them intensive support. So it's something that we suggested 8 years ago, myself and an SEN teacher, that we'd just offer extra support to these students. We organise it like station teaching in a way. I'll take one small group for reading. Now they could be very weak, so we'll be starting with the really small books for the lowest level for, say, accelerated reader, and we'll set targets with them. We try to make it fun. We'll do activities like or have pen pals with other schools. Vocabulary enrichment is a really strong focus that I love doing, where we'll have dictionary work and try to get them used to using the new vocabulary that they'll be using in second level. I have a big chalkboard outside the library, words to take away, and it's organised like a big cafe board. So when they're reading a book, they'll have a chalkboard marker with them and some little post-its, and they have to find words that they like, and then they get to display them. We get loads of support from the SEN department, loads of support from our special needs assistants, like our teacher assistants. So it's we're able to create a nice kind of supportive environment where we'll have, you know, maybe 2 or 3 students with one staff. And yeah, I think it helps them to grow in confidence and to be able to eventually read the same books as their peers, but just with more support.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds great. And I think this links on to something else I was going to ask you about, which is when I was reading about the description of your school, it's obviously there's some challenges within your school. It says about high number of children with educational disadvantages, 17 different languages spoken within the school, which, you know, for me, which works in a school in leafy Cheshire, is completely alien. I'm sure there's people from inner city schools that are used to it. But what are the positives to that? How do you deal with those kind of challenges? What difference do you think it makes to your job?
I think, well, for me, first of all, I think the primary thing I need to do is create a really safe, secure space for students, because a lot of them, there won't have been much positive experience of education at home, maybe. And I want them to feel safe and secure where they can take risks in their learning. And that goes the same for students with other languages, that I can provide a space for them to mix with their peers, where they'll see their languages celebrated. We run, even the group clubs that we run can encourage them to take part without even having the language, like say the chess club. That's a safe, secure space for them to take part. Yeah.
That's excellent. Well, I was going to ask you about the clubs as well, because I think just in your program it was chess, a school newspaper, is that right? Creative writing, and a film club. I said, I don't know where you're all finding the time. So, I mean, how did you get these clubs started? What do you enjoy most about running that variety of different clubs?
Yeah, well, the library is, it's strange to be here today when it's quiet, because normally it's just such a busy place. There's a different club running every day. Chess club is great. It does, like was it Claire said, nearly run itself. And I have to say, I was bluffing about chess for a long time. We have a second year student from Turkey who pretty much ran the whole show. He had a lovely presence. It kind of helps that he looks like he's about 25. And I kind of, but now since lockdown, I've actually learned how to play chess. So, school newspaper, I suppose, is really my baby. I love that. We bring out about 4 issues of newspaper every year. I have a core group of students who would consider themselves very much, you know, part of the team. They turn up nearly every day with ideas, and they have roles, and then we'll commission different articles as well. But it's a great, besides all the skills that people are learning when they're involved in the newspaper, it's a great way of contriving to bring different groups together within the library. So I might suggest we're going to write an article on Poland and the Polish community. So then let's get everybody from the Polish community in the school together in the library, and they're making friends, they're meeting each other, they're mixing with different year groups, and we have a good article at the end of it. So we've done that with lots of things. It's led to, you can see the friendships that form between students. Like say all of the girls who play different sports in the school, let's feature them in the newspaper. So let's get them all together, let's give them all a cup of tea, let's, you know, champion them. And it also, I love the social side of it. I love the building community within the school, like shining a spotlight on the different hobbies and pastimes that students have, letting us see them really in 3D outside of just the learner in front of the teacher. And actually, different members of staff have said to me, it's really given me a way in with a student, that I know that they have this interest in hunting, or I know what soccer team they support, I know what they want to do when they leave school. And it works the other way as well, that students get to know staff, because we'll interview them and get to see another side to them as well. So yeah, when the school newspaper comes out, the buzz is just unreal. We give it out on a Thursday at break time, and there's just silence. Everybody has their head in the paper, and everybody wants to see themselves in it. So yeah, it's a really positive one. And creative writing, our creative writing group has historically been really strong. We have a lovely group of students. It's been hard to kind of keep the momentum of that going now over the last year. And I found that it was very supportive for students. A lot of students liked, I think, the pastoral side of creative writing. A lot of quieter students used it as a way of, really sharing time and sharing their feelings and emotions on the page in a supportive environment. So I struggle to try to keep that going now during lockdown, because I do know it was very important to a lot of students. Yeah. And film club was hard to run, because I purposely didn't have a screen in the library for a long time, because I was afraid teachers might try to use it as a classroom. But I have now got a television in my sitting room area of the library, so I look forward to being able to run the film club again now soon.
That's excellent. Yeah, I think just trying to get back to normal. And I love how you're just like leading into my next question, because you're sitting in the reading area. Are you able to show us that, or is like not
yeah, no, the room is be ready for this wallpaper. Now it's busy, and the wall, besides the wallpaper, I don't have photographs up at the moment. But yeah, this is, can you see, this is our fireplace.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's absolutely
the room is kind of divided in two. We have the sitting room with a pullover partition.
Wow.
Yeah, that was, I got quite a few kind of raised eyebrows when I suggested that I was going to buy wallpaper and I was going to put in a fireplace. But it's just lovely, and it's creating that secure, comfortable, nice, warm space for students to feel at home, and to really feel safe and secure. And at the end of a class of quiet reading, when you look down and you see students curled up on the mat, in front of the fire, it's just so nice,
It's absolutely wonderful. I think you've just made, how many people have we got on the call? 34. I think you've made 34 people very jealous.
And I am often to be found sitting on the sofa next to the fire. So
okay, let's just rub it in. How long have you had that for?
Gosh, the wallpaper's up about a year, and then I was looking for a fireplace, and I was thinking, how can I justify this in my budget? So I just very loudly kept saying in the staff room, I'm looking for a fireplace. And yes, one of the maths teachers had one, and I went out to his house with a trailer and and we got a plug-in stove. So it was lovely at Christmas time with the Christmas stockings hanging over it.
And ready-made for Harry Potter Day as well, to be Gryffindor Common Room, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just got it sorted. That's absolutely amazing. I think it's a lovely thing to end our chat on, seeing that. I'm so glad that you were in school and could actually show us it rather than just describe it. So that's fantastic. Thank you so much, Nadine. I will let you get off. And we've got Christabel to talk to last. Hello, Christabel.
Hello.
Hello, there you are. Hi, how are you?
I'm good, thank you.
That's great.
There we go. Let's get this working.
You're going to get your slide ready. Go on.
I've got some slides to kind of illustrate while I talk.
Fantastic. Because I didn't have many questions for you, but my questions were going to be ones that I think you would just talk about for ages. So I think that's great.
I just have to kind of shift the screen around.
Okay, I'll let you get that ready.
And then play from start. Okay, and then I'm going to reshare.
And it will work perfectly.
There we go. How's that?
It's working. That's brilliant.
Okay,
so do you want to just talk, or do you want me to ask you?
Yeah, kick off.
So I was going to ask you, it's really clear from your profile that the link between reading for pleasure and mental well-being is very, very important. So how do you approach that?
So Addie and Stanhope Library, we're a school in Deptford in southeast London, and reading is absolutely kind of a key priority for everyone in the school, every staff member, it being pushed from SLT, from a senior leadership team. And it's kind of the library really is physically the heart of the school in kind of curriculum. So we have library classes every week with year 7 and year 8, and every fortnight with year 9, and we have library visits from all of the rest of the year groups as well. And that's for kind of quiet reading, and I run lessons with them as well. It's been so wonderful hearing about all the other clubs run by all the other librarians here today. I've been such good company. It's really cool. Running lots of clubs in the library, and basically my mantra being that the library is for everybody. So we have something here for everyone, whether it's kind of gaming clubs, book clubs, manga club, somewhere to come and sit down and chat and join teachers in kind of a science reading group. I run a film club as well. I run kind of various board game clubs. I want every student to have something here that is for them, and that they can come in and leave the library with something that's going to bring them some pleasure. So yeah, it's about focusing on kind of reading and various library related things to help you relax, to de-stress. I run CPD sessions for staff on kind of the links between not just the academic benefits from reading and what the library does, but all of the personal benefits from it as well. And the school actually, we've actually started kind of like a well-being program in the school, and the library, although it's been interrupted by COVID, the library actually now will be part of our well-being kind of curriculum session on the school program as well. So yeah,
that's fantastic.
Lots of the things kind of we were running before kind of the pandemic and lockdown. I'm actually going to talk a lot about what I've been doing during.
Yeah, I know that you've adapted incredibly well to lockdown. But, so do.
But all of the things kind of running in school before lockdown about creating a really fun kind of place to be, the library being where you can come not just to get books, but obviously to find out kind of competitions and author visits. And we do something called author pen pals as well. So we're pen pals with an author, and we do that with our book clubs too. This is just kind of an idea of all the stuff we were doing. Something that I started doing that I absolutely love and I can't wait to start doing again is that I run tables at parents' evenings and information evenings. So I have a big table and we give out free books to students, but also free books to families, to parents and carers too, and goodie bags and library bookmarks and basically I run Accelerated Reader, so I'm there to talk about kind of progress with students, but I'm also there to kind of make the library part of the community as well and what we offer too.
Can I just ask how do you fund the free books that you give out? What kinds of things are those?
So World Book Day books are a great source of kind of cheap book gifting. It's kind of I'll talk about it later on, but there are kind of community groups we work with getting free books to give out. We do World Book Night book gifting as well. And we also do kind of, obviously we take a lot of donations for books too, but that's also, I'll talk about how I've been managing kind of book gifting from donations as well.
Okay.
But with the pandemic breaking out, obviously we moved to a click and collect library service. But as I've just said, working with community groups and campaigns. So something that was really amazing this year was working with something called the Free Books campaign, run by Sophia Akel. And she has started this campaign to help get books to people who can't afford them, can't access them. And for a lot of young people, you know, when you read statistics about children not reading, it's often due to cost, access, and the content of books. And so her campaign is gifting hundreds of free books by authors of colour to schools and different people that need them. And so I worked with her during lockdown to get lots of books, and we were distributing those to students. And I actually set up like an online free bookshop, because I know for a lot of people, when you have book donations, you want to get them out to people. You also want students to have a choice there as well. So I actually set up a website where students can actually place orders for free books, and it notifies me by Google Forms when that number of books has run out. So I'm not promising books that children can't get. So we're going to be focusing on that again when we go back next week, building up our little free bookshop online for students there too.
Wow, that's incredible.
But yeah, the click and collect service, I think, has been pretty successful. But like I said, it's also about getting students like book ownership is so important, as well as library books. So that's a big part of my job too. So promoting book ownership for students. And with the well-being, it was wonderful hearing about all the podcasts that another librarian was doing. So I work with teachers quite a lot across a lot of projects. So teachers normally reach out to me to get involved with projects that they're doing. And one thing that we've done over lockdown is Addie's Lockdown Laughter newsletter and podcast. So I've been featured on the podcasts where I talk about new books that are coming out, library events. I do a little... I really like the game Would You Rather, so I've got quite a lot of Would You Rather books, and so I do a Would You Rather segment on the podcast, and so we've been doing that during lockdown to kind of keep kids amused and running lots of kind of wellbeing activities around that. And we've actually got a wellbeing day tomorrow, and we've got lots of library obviously it's World Book Day, but we've got lots of library activities as part of our wellbeing sessions for that for students to do too. So yeah, kind of co-working with teachers on projects is another really big part of my work. With lockdown and kind of teaching, I think that might be something you're going to ask me about.
Well, yeah. Do you know what, Christopher? Just carry on talking.
how we're doing classes, and it's been really interesting, and it's been brilliant for actually kind of planning for the future and how we kind of embed ourselves in the curriculum, because I think the pandemic and the crisis has meant that a lot of things that we've always wanted to do, we've suddenly had to get really good at doing really quickly, and suddenly working out how to do everything. And so with classes, when students were in school, but during kind of like big health and safety measures in school, I was tuning into classes remotely. So we weren't having classes in the library, but they were in their hubs. And so I was tuning in via Teams, and I was kind of working with the teachers to deliver stuff there. So we're doing programs like Book Buzz. I'm a really big advocate of an online program called Canva, and I make all of my designs using Canva. So I made a huge booklet, like interactive booklet. You can see some of the pages here for Book Buzz this year. To help students choose their books, because they couldn't be with me in the library choosing them. So we did a few sessions around this, and watching videos and reading extracts and various things around that. And I also run accelerated readers, so I've been doing that remotely, and really inspired by all the kind of Google Classrooms that librarians and teachers have been sharing online. And so every week I post kind of my kind of classroom task on Teams. So I use Canva again to design my classrooms there, and I create little you can see that was one of my little I think that was the Christmas holidays reading bookshelf that had links to free books. Just lots of really nice visual promotion for the students, because they're not in the library, and I want them to see kind of as much as they can. But yeah, accelerated read has been interesting, promoting remotely. been doing, sorry, that's next slide. We've been using Show My Homework a lot, as well as Teams, and kind of setting quizzes and activities remotely via there as well. But as well as kind of reading classes, I also do information literacy as well. And I actually work with another Lewisham librarian called Karen Hans on an information literacy framework that we've called Praise, which I'm not going to go into today. That's probably for another time. But during lockdown, I've been teaching students the SIFT method of research of how to deal with, you know, fake news and misinformation. And if librarians haven't heard of this, please Google it. It's pretty revelatory in terms of like practical, up-to-date way of looking at how you deal with information instead of the more kind of outdated, you know, like the crap test and things like that. This is, I recommend everyone really gets into this, because this is what we've been using, this is what we've been teaching the students to use, and they're really into it, because it teaches you how to deal with things like Twitter and TikTok and kind of fake news during the coronavirus epidemic. One thing I've loved doing on Teams is read aloud. So I use kind of copyright relaxations to record myself reading books, and I link it to our online library, Sora. So there's a bunch of books that on Sora that don't have restrictions. So any number of students can borrow the same book. So I make a lot of videos around those ones in particular to promote them, and making videos about how to use various library applications and the library website. And that's been great. We're definitely going to continue doing this after we go back to school. And
I think that's there's so many things, isn't there, that you just think, why weren't we doing this before? You can still make this work. Yeah.
But a lot of the students have told me how much they like the kind of read alouds, whether it's, I make video ones, but I also make audio ones as well. And that's been really nice. I honestly can't wait to get back to reading to them in person though. So clubs online, I run book clubs online. I've been doing Manga Club online. I used to use Padlet, but I started using Nearpod because it's got a similar function to Padlet in posting on a wall. So they've got a function called Collaborate, and students can post on there. And we kind of choose theme tune music to listen to. We have debate and discussion. We recommend books. We're running competitions. I've got about 31 students signed up to Manga Club at the moment. So I'm looking forward to being back in person with them. It's probably one of my highlights of my week, because I personally, I'm a really big manga fan. But I love gaming and football as well. So a lot of my personal interests really help me with my job. And we're looking at starting. Well, I'm looking at starting a football club as well. Newsletters during lockdown. I'd been using Sway, but I started using a different function on Canva. But I send them out to parents as well. I make parent reading newsletters too, to kind of promote all the stuff that we do. And a little sneak peek here. I help. I'm part of an amazing group of librarians called the Lewisham School Librarians, and we run the Lewisham Book Awards, and that's kind of going to be properly launched tomorrow. But this is just a sneak peek for everyone of the shortlists this year. So yeah,
that's amazing. That's a pretty good shortlist. A lot of overlap with last year, this year Carnegie long list as well.
Yeah, we run a year 7 and year 8 shortlist, and then a year 9 and upwards one. And we'd shortlisted it quite a while ago, but because everything's online, normally we run inter-school events. So each of us takes turns hosting like a Dragon's Den style event where students have to compete to get their kind of they try and sell a book to one of the books on the shortlist, a panel of dragons, and we get authors to come in and visit as well. And we do a lot of cooperative work between the schools on events. So we run a Lewisham book quiz for all our schools as well. But yeah, that's one of the amazing things about working in Lewisham is our group of librarians.
It does always help, doesn't it, if you've got a lovely group that you can work with. Wow. Okay, that was amazing, Christopher. We've had one comment in the chat about, like, would love to know more about how you run the free book shop. But I imagine that's probably quite detailed, isn't it? I don't know whether there's something maybe you could send to Bev, and perhaps you could send something out.
It was something I'd thought of quite a while, which was I've got so many books that I can give out for free, but I want students to choose them, but I don't know how to get it into a running smooth system. and actually, once I worked it out with various with various kind of functions on Google Forms, I'll make a kind of document about it, and I will disseminate it via here and online for people to use, because I think it would really be helpful for a lot of people to do that as well. So no, I will do that.
That's brilliant. Thank you so much. And look at that, 4:30 on the dot. How good are we? So, Chris, brilliant. I was just going to say, would Aideen, Claire and Terry, would you like to pop your cameras back on so that we can all say thank you to you properly for sharing all the amazing things that you are doing in your schools? That was absolutely fantastic, and I think we could have had an hour each, really, couldn't we? But we do what we can. I think you've given lots of people lots of inspiration and ideas, and I don't think that anybody will be in any doubt as to why you have made the honour list this year. And good luck, judges. Absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Okay. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Okay, I don't know whether Bev's coming back on or whether we are just finishing.
I certainly can do. Wow, goodness me. There were so many things that I could have been writing down. That was just amazing. You are all absolutely fantastic. And as you say, Ros, quite obvious why you're there on the screen. And what the others don't know is that a few of you were a little bit nervous beforehand. Goodness only knows why. Because you just rock, ladies, you really do. Those of you that are in the audience, just a little reminder about the other webinars that we've got coming up. Do keep an eye on the events page, and because we've got an awful lot coming up. And this month is actually Members Month for the SLA, so keep an eye on the social media. There's lots of different things going on during the month and opportunities to interact. But apart from that, hope everybody has a lovely weekend when it finally gets here. It doesn't seem to get here that quick, does it? But there you go. And hope to see you again at future events. Bye, everyone.
Thanks.